What's up, guys? Welcome to the NMBD podcast mini series, specifically on NFTs. Today, we are super excited to have Lee with us, an avid NFT hustler for how many months so far?
2.5, 3
Three
months.
whole months, telling you that
Yeah.
this is not only a nascent opportunity, but also super interesting. Once again, thank you, Tarek, for joining us as you always do. And let's get started. Tarek, take it from here.
Yeah, a bit of background. Lee and I, we used to go to university together a good 10, 12 years ago, and we were together actually back then. So we know each other for a long time, and we've had lots of chats over the years. And the most recent one is Lee going into the NFT space. And that's really exciting. And I thought a lot of people could get a lot of value out of this. A lot of people on the fence, a lot of people that are completely new to it. And at the same time, I bought my first one yesterday, and I'm still in a complete learning phase, and I want to get some value out of this as well. So, Lee, could you introduce yourself a little bit, give a bit of background to you, and how you got started in this whole NFT space?
Yeah. So I'm Lee Constantinou. I kind of stumbled into the NFT space after being a dabbler in crypto. From 2019, putting a little bit in Bitcoin, putting a bit in Litecoin, and then just leaving it and then letting it dump and then kind of picking back up again. And so I kind of put a little bit in the markets and was very blind to what was going on because I was so busy in the online marketing world, running a fitness coaching business, online business, and doing a bunch of other things online. And I just didn't really pay much attention to what was going on. And a couple months back, I just decided that I wanted to go all in. And so closed shop down with my businesses and pretty much just been focused for the past 2 months, which 2 months in crypto NFT world is like a year. The way things move is just like lightning speed. So even though it's only been 10 weeks or so, it feels like a year just from the way things move so aggressively in the space. And I just kind of stumbled into it because I saw the point in it. And that's really it. Like that's what people need to see before they start investing in this space. Is you need to see the point in it, because if you don't see the point in it, you're going to have a very hard time putting your hard-earned money into this thing that is very speculative. And so as I was kind of deep diving onto YouTube and Twitter and just white papers and all these kind of things, I just started to see the point in it. I started to see the value in how NFTs are going to mold our society and how they already are. And so I just became really fascinated in what they do and how they work and what they represent. And here I am now.
I got to go into this. Lee, you're telling me you stopped your business that you built over the last couple of years and you just gone cold turkey and said, yo, I'm going to do NFTs full time.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of one of those people where I like to just, move quickly and not look back. I saw a higher upside to moving into NFTs, like higher risk but higher reward, and that's what I like. I kind of like a bit risky side of what crypto is, what NFTs are. I've still got things ticking over in the business until I actually announce that I'm closing it. So hopefully nobody watches this and sees I'm closing down my business. I'm still doing bits in business. Like when I say close shop, I mean not proactively trying to grow my business. It's more in like a maintenance. Yeah. And that to me is like closing it, right? Because if something's not growing, it's dying. And so it's like I'm doing other little bits, but really my time and attention, let's say full time, most of my day is researching crypto, 8-10 hours of the day. So it's like, there's a few hours in the day to do stuff that's needed to get done in the business. But yeah, I just decided to go all in because I realized when you go half-assed into things and you go 1 foot in, you don't really get to, ride the waves of things. You just kind of, you hear things, oh yeah, I need to get around to doing that. How long have we been saying things like, oh, I need to invest in crypto, I need to buy an NFT? We always say these things, but we don't actually do it. And so I just
never pull the trigger. You got to be able to pull the trigger. 100%.
Yeah, and so I sort of put myself in the position where I need to make it work. Not like I need to, but like I have the time and energy to. Then I can see the opportunities, and so that's what I decided to do.
So when did you buy your first NFT?
I bought my first one. I think it was about June now. Yeah, it's about June or maybe end of June.
And what was it?
Actually, no, maybe it wasn't that far back. I feel like, honestly, the time has gone so quickly.
You're in like morph space.
Yeah, I've got everything tracked actually on like a spreadsheet of when I bought things and how much I paid. Like I track everything, right? But my first one, I would say, or I wouldn't say, actually was around middle of August. Actually September. Beginning of September, I bought my first one.
And what was it?
And what was it? How much did you pay for it?
So my first NFT was a Dogepound puppy. It was kind of a kind of a follow-on from the Dogepound. It's a project where they do a lot of they've got a lot going on in their community. They've partnered with a lot of other NFTs, a few kind of celebs and stuff, and it was like a secondary to their main Dogepound. And I bought it because I saw it was kind of like, it was, I guess at the time to me it was like, that's kind of like cheap in the NFT space, which was 0.19 ETH, which was around $600 at the time. And I was like, let me see where it goes, because it looked kind of cool. I didn't really know the point of it at the time. I just bought it. And I still don't really count that as my first NFT buy. My first actual one was about 3 or 4 days later when I saw one called the Sneaky Vampire Syndicate.
Yes.
Well, let me finish.
NFT, bro.
Yeah. Yes. So pretty much, the same kind of hype as you, Alex, was the artist was the same as the Bored Ape Yacht Club artist, and so we all probably had the same thought as well. The Bored Ape Yacht Clubs are like one of the most profound. Maybe it's going to do the same thing, and so me being the novice,
the sneaky
in
vampire
the space,
that you are.
Yeah, and the complete novice degenerate, saw the mint, which was getting at whatever it was, a reasonable price, which is like 0.2 ETH or 0.1 ETH. Didn't get the mint because of the way they did it. It's like a raffle thing, and so because I was like so set on getting one, I went straight onto OpenSea like immediately as they sold out on the mint. And I was just putting bids in left, right, and center because I was like, I want to get one of these. I was really convinced in my head, and I really told myself this thing's going to go to the moon. So I was whacking in 2 ETH offers, which is kind of crazy now I think about it. And I put about 30 ETH offers in, but I didn't realize that it's going to take it from your wallet if somebody accepts the bid. Luckily, I didn't have too much wrapped ETH in my wallet. Anyway, ended up getting one of those offers put through, which was about 2 wrapped ETH at the time. And then I ended up accidentally buying another one because I didn't realize the whole difference between wrapped ETH and normal ETH. So I ended up walking away with 2, spent about 2.8 ETH. And, at the time that was, still a decent amount of money. It's at 12,000, what was it? About $10,000, $12,000. And that was it. I was like, right, I bought my official first NFTs. And I was really, really happy at the time. And I was like, yeah, this is going to the moon. And then time has passed, and I learned a lot since then. But yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago.
Did you flip them when the floor price was 3?
No. So this is the lesson I learned was you want to catch waves. Now I profited on them still, but I didn't ride that wave. I just kind of was like, oh, this is a long hold. I kind of viewed NFTs at the time, which was only 2 months ago, like Bitcoin. Oh, this is a long hold. Hold it for a year, hold it for 2 years, and they'll appreciate in value. After seeing that one dip, and then after doing many more flips since then, like dozens and dozens of flips, I realized that there is they play like crypto, like companies, like they go up, they go down, and you want to really sell on that pump. And so end up selling them both for a decent profit. One of them was somewhat rare-ish, and I learned that you need to sell these things at some point, otherwise you're just going to become a community holder. And
I think one of the main issues is that no matter how you want to look at it, when you've spent some time looking and you actually choose something, you feel like vested emotionally in it. And it is like a piece of artwork. So to actually flip it or sell it, if you do mentally can't control yourself, can be a bit difficult.
So true.
But totally
especially
free.
Like different to cryptos, right? Where you buy this coin, you sell it. You don't feel an attachment to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. You feel like this ownership. Like the one I have now as my profile picture is like, I won't sell that unless somebody offers me like $1 million. Like that's how much I feel like I want to keep it.
Completely connected with that. And then when you enter into the communities which are being built around these NFT projects, and you say like, hey, I got my first vamp or something like that, and everyone's like,
Mm.
bro, congratulations, man. Like, welcome to the lair, like, welcome to this club. It even becomes more difficult to detach that emotional element away from it.
You're one of us.
Yeah,
So-
man. I mean, me and go ahead, Tarek.
I know you got really excited, Alex, because you bought your first one yesterday, also Sneaky Vampire. So you're in the same boat. But I want to find out more. So you considered your first one, then the Sneaky Vampire. This was 2-3 months ago, and you have just said, and then you have flipped dozens. So I want to understand how you go from not really knowing anything to then deciding, okay, I'm going to buy all these different ones. And where do you get your information from? Where do you do research? I know that you're a very disciplined guy. You do a lot of research before you would pull the trigger. So what gets you then, okay, I'm going to put my money here, I'm going to put my money there. And then walk us through that process. Once you have pulled the trigger, how do you then decide, okay, what price am I going to list these at? Am I going to wait 24 hours? Like, what is that process like for you?
Wow. It's about 7 questions in there. Let me try and unravel those questions. The audio kind of chopped a little bit. Hopefully it wasn't for you. Since then, it was like the realization was, all right, you bought this thing. You now need to kind of immerse yourself. And the place is really Twitter. Like the place where NFTs and crypto is really shared is Twitter as a platform. And so I brushed off the dust on my Twitter account and started using it again to start following people who are, considered whales, right, in the space, or influencers. And these people who, and they're quite obvious because they kind of start popping up many times frequently in different people's feeds, and they get retweeted. It becomes evident that these people can influence the markets, right? And because there's only a couple 100,000 wallets on OpenSea, it means that if somebody's got 100,000 Twitter followers or whatnot, that means these people can be very influential in terms of who's going to buy. And also the whale wallets are the ones who essentially have the most money. So if they go and what we call sweep the floor, which is go and buy all the floor, buy all the NFTs at the floor price, which is the base price, then that can create kind of like a pump effect from that floor price being swept. So yeah, being on Twitter was a big place. And then within the Discords, like once you've got an NFT, right, you're in a Discord and there's a community there. People share a lot of what we call alpha, right? They're sharing alpha of like what's happening, what's going down. And so being plugged into those places, and then being plugged into a few friends of mine as well, just in the Telegram chat, and just seeing what we see and sharing, it just allows you to then kind of share information, right? And I think that's the biggest thing with crypto. It's about the sharing of information, because nobody can find everything. And in fact, it's really hard. You'll miss most things. In fact, you'll catch very few things. And so you just have to be okay with the fact that you are going to miss a lot of things, but the things you do go for, you want to hope that they're the play, because there's no guarantee in this space. And so talking with people, looking at Twitter, like one of the biggest things for me before going in and buying one is firstly trying to get in at the mint, right? If you can get in at the mint, which is before it's like on OpenSea and on the market, you're essentially almost, more often than not, like you're going to make profits on it if it's a good project, because the mint is essentially the discounted price where you pay whatever 0.1 ETH, 0.01 ETH to 0.08 ETH to 0.1 ETH, whatever, that kind of around that price. Usually if it's a really high project, the floor price, which is the price that it will be listed on OpenSea, can easily be 2x from there. And so if the bare minimum is a price that people mint at, people will rarely sell for a loss unless they're an idiot, right? And so you go on the secondary market, that's where you see the kind of momentum building from the mint. And if it's a really hype mint, meaning it sells out extremely fast, which causes gas wars, then that means that the secondary market on OpenSea is going to be really hyped up, because people get FOMO, right? And FOMO is a drug. And so people go jumping in like I did, right? Good example, to go and buy on the secondary market, because they feel like they don't want to miss out. And they don't want to miss out on this wave, this pump.
One question: when you're at mint, obviously the gas price can change, but you can press to speed it up, because I tried to mint the other day and I didn't make it.
Yes.
So if you see that you have to speed it up, do you make that executive decision? Yes, I'm going to pay extra gas speed it up? Because obviously, if I'm having to speed it up, there's a lot of people trying to mint this project, or not necessarily.
Yeah. So if you believe, again, it comes back to conviction, right? If you have conviction that this play is worth the extra gas, you speed it up. And if it is a hype project and you don't go for high gas and you don't increase the amount you're going to spend on gas, you're very unlikely to get in, because it's going to just be left in pending. And so, that's the thing with Ethereum, right? There's a limited amount of transactions per second. And because of that, the more you have to pay more, right? You have to pay the miner fees, you have to pay the gas fees if you want to make it. Because if somebody's essentially bidding more on gas than you and giving the miners more money, then you're just going to get pushed to the bottom of the queue. And so you have to weigh up, right? What is the price? What could I potentially sell this for as a minimum? And is it worth it? I mean, there was a mint a couple months back, Doodles, which is just killing it right now. It's my favorite one. I got in on the mint and it sold out within like 3 minutes, but I paid, at the time, about 0.27 ETH for gas, right, to get in on that. And so, when that's over $1,000 to get in. And if you don't get in, you still got to pay the miner fee. That, again, if you mess with all this stuff, you have to pay a miner fee, which can be really high. And so you have to weigh up the options of, like, if I don't get in, there's a chance that I will lose a percentage of this money. And so it's a high risk, right? It's a very risky game if you go to extremely high mints. But you can get in with someone just high gas or even normal gas. It just depends on what's happening or how hype it is. Or if some influencer comes in and like mints it, many people are tracking these wallets. They're using different tools and softwares to track these people's wallets. So if they see this influencer or this big whale is buying them, then loads of people come flooding in, and then that just makes the mint, explode. And the secondary market, it's like a knock-on effect. And so it's really influenced by people who kind of move the markets. And go back to your question, so you decide, is it worth it? Is it going to be profitable short-term and long-term to get in on this mint? And do I believe in it? Do I believe in this art, this project, where they're going? And that's when you make the decision if you're going to increase your gas and if you're going to push through.
All right. So you're in a project, one way or another. Either you bought it on the secondary market or in the mint. What happens next? You want to make money. Everyone wants to make money. But how do you decide when you get out of this?
Yeah, so a couple things really there. So when you get a project, an NFT on a mint, it goes into this kind of like phase of like these generic whatever pictures where they're waiting to be revealed. And during that phase of like revealing is where a lot of activity can happen. A bit like when I was younger, my mom used to bring us home some Pokemon cards, right, in the packet, and then you have the packet and you open the packet and then you see what you've got, right? And that I used to love that, right? And that is a dopamine hit that many people crave for in the world and in NFT space, where they're hoping that when they get their reveal, it's a rare one. And so many people will wait to see the reveal to hope that they've got a rare one. And so a couple of things can happen at that stage. The floor can either really pump because people want to risk it or kind of gamble for a rare, or the floor can kind of be kind of flat until the reveal, where lots of price activity can happen. And so it just really depends. If you want like a safe 2x, maybe more, you can sell it before the reveal because people are going to want to gamble for that rare. Or if you want to risk it, and see if you get a rare, you can either wait for that reveal, and then if you have a rare NFT, you can sell it for a fair amount of money. Or if it's just a really common one, you probably have to sell it at a standard price if you want to flip quickly. If you want a long hold, then that's a different game. That means you have to really kind of see if the project's got things lined up, if it's building hype, if people are kind of vibing with it for you to hold it long enough to see the value come through. And so it really depends on how liquid you want to be. If you need the liquid quickly, then you would sell it quickly for a smaller profit. But if you don't need the money, then you can hold some of them longer and then flip them maybe when they really pick up. So it really depends. But a safer bet is flipping quickly. A longer hold, potentially bigger gains, but also potentially bigger losses.
Tell us about What was your most successful one?
Okay, I'll tell you most successful and tell you riskiest as well, if you like to hear that.
Yeah.
So most successful, I'd say, in actual returns was one called Yakuza Cats. Got in on the mint of that. It was a Dutch auction. So with a Dutch auction, it works very differently in that you're not competing and having gas wars, but the price starts at 1 ETH and then it comes down gradually over a period of hours. And so it will hit a certain point and then loads of people would start.
Sorry.
So once it gets down to that price, you get it. And I picked up 5 of those. One of those was a top, I think it was ranked like 105 or something out of 10,000. And on a 10K project, if you get a decent ranking, like you're pretty much laughing because like people go crazy and whales really want rarities, right? Rare things. So I picked up 5 of them, sold 3 of them, got me kind of over break even, got me to near break even for the whole 5. And then I flipped that final one, the rare one, for about 2.5 ETH, which brought that whole the whole profit from that project came to about, I think it was about 2.5 ETH profit on that one. That was my best. Oh no, 3.7 ETH profit. So about 400%, 400% in profit from that one. And obviously for every one good one, there's many bad ones. So I don't want this to be like typical example, right? It's like I'm picking out a couple here because for every one of those, there's like 5 shit ones, right? So, but that was my best one. Yeah, so over 3.5 ETH profit. ETH was around 4,000 at the time, so it's like 12 grand. Very nice. And right now, I would say my most profitable one, if I was to sell them all, would be my doodles because I got 5 doodles.
3 floor or something.
Right, I got 5 doodles at when they minted. The floor was kind of moving up nicely. I sold one immediately when it revealed because it was a rare one at the time. I sold it for 2.5 ETH. So that was like, it got me back because I spent about 5 ETH on them on the mint. And this is the thing, right? If you have to be kind of liquid to do that. To drop 5 ETH, including gas, is a risk. That's a huge amount of money to some people to potentially do nothing with, right? But again, conviction, the team. One of the people behind it worked for Dapper Labs, and they're just a very strong team, good artist, lots of community hype, clean art, very profile picture friendly. So it ticked a lot of these boxes. And so the conviction was there. The Twitter was hyped. And so when I went on that one, I just kind of had a good vibe from it as well. Many people were hyping it up. And so when I flipped that first one for 2.5 ETH, it kind of helped cover a lot of my initials. So I wasn't as exposed, right? Because 5 ETH down, it's like, right, how am I going to continue playing this game? So selling that one helped me kind of recoup. And I held my 4 through what we had, which was the NFT bear market. Now, I've never been, I guess, through a bear market because I've only been in this game for like a couple months. But man, that was one of the hardest times mentally to just sit and wait on the sidelines because you're seeing everything you're holding literally going to like next to nothing or back to what you paid. But majority going less than that for many weeks. And that's because ETH pumped, Bitcoin pumped. NFTs typically take a dump because all the money is people are trying to catch that ETH pump, right? And so sitting through that was really tough. But it paid dividends because as we came to the middle end of last week, a few people bought in on doodles. And all it takes is a couple of people to buy them to kind of create that catalyst. Gary Vee bought one, a couple other influencers bought one, Disclosure bought one, Elijah Wood bought one. And the thing with NFTs that's different to coins and cryptos is people feel proud, right? Like we said earlier, Alex, like people want to show them off. And it's a digital flex online where people get to show off their goods and their value and their coolness just in a place where people actually can interact with it. Because if you're driving your sports car down Jumeirah Beach, like no one except people in Dubai are going to see it. But when it comes to online, people see it. And so these guys, Gary Vee and everyone bought one, which just rocketed the floor up. It was hovering around 2 ETH. I mean, when it was in bear market, it went down to like 1 ETH, went down to 0.89. It was like comfortable buys. I think maybe not as low as that, but it was around the price that I paid, including my gas. And so it was at a discount. And then it's kept moving. It moved up to around 4 ETH last week. It hit 4 ETH. It touched 4 ETH and came right back down to about 2.8. And it's now hovering around 3.1. and I've got 3 more. So
and well, what's your strategy there? You think you're going to hold on to them a bit longer? Do you?
Yeah, these are long holds for me. I mean, you look at Bored Ape Yacht Clubs going at 40 ETH, 30 ETH. You see ones like Cool Cats at around 10 ETH. Like, this is a 10 ETH project easily. Everything is there. It's lined for it. If Coinbase lists them on their new NFT platform, that's going to pump it more. And so, yeah, I'm really holding these. Like, I don't need the money now, right? I'm already in profits from what I've already sold. Yeah, I sold a couple on the pump last week, and I rebought one back because I wanted one that I could use as my profile picture that kind of looked like me. So I ended up selling 2 to rebuy one, but I was in profits still. And so I kind of used the profits to buy another one. And so I'm holding 3. And for me, it's minimum 10 ETH, but I mean, I could see this going 20, 30, potentially. Speculation, and that's not financial advice, but I'm holding it now because I got to cover myself there. I'm really going to hold this one, and if it drops back to about 2.8, I might even rebuy because it's just,
you're feeling that bullish about the whole project, huh?
Yeah, I do. I mean, a lot of things line up. The people, the art, it's just so clean as well, and people like it.
Cool.
It's just
Tarek's first NFT he bought was the Society of Derivative Apes, which is like a mixture of apes and doodles.
I was going to buy that one the other night. Yeah, 2 nights ago. One of my friends bought like 10 of them. It's actually doing pretty well today. The floor is good. The activity is good. It was one of the highest trading yesterday. So,
well, I like to hear that. Give me some more of those news.
Yeah, I would say with derivatives though, keep in mind like it is a derivative in that. So because it's not
pulled down, right?
Yeah, it's not necessarily. I think they're clear. I think I read somewhere that Burnt Toast, who's the founder of Doodle, said they're cool, they don't mind with them doing it. So yeah, I mean, it is good to keep aware of the hype around it. Like, if you want to flip it, just keep an eye like what's happening. You use there's a couple tools like icy.tools, which is helpful to see what's happening, and just look at like the floors, like how is it moving, how's the activity going, how's the volume going, because depending on how many you got, right, you might want to flip, but you might want to hold as well. I don't really know much about it. I know that it's looking good now, but NFT space changes so quickly, man. It can go crazy, it can come down. It's just so like volatile, and that's the thing, right? We're in a very volatile space. We're playing a risky game.
I wanted to just touch on that point you came up with about driving your sports car down Jumeirah Beach Road. And there was a really interesting interview or a moment where Gary Vee was talking, and he was saying that he would argue that online you can actually show everything that you have way more than all the things which are closed off in your house, like your jewelry, your watch, your couch, your Fendi pillow, or like your piece of artwork and all this stuff. Actually, online you can divulge everything and flex everything all at once,
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that we've been doing it. We've been doing it for a while now. We're just doing it with digital goods. I mean,
it's ingrained in us.
Yeah, we've been doing it when we've been, we get lean, we show a selfie, we go to a nice holiday, we take a picture, we stay in a nice hotel. Like, we've been flexing online all this time. We just haven't been able to do it in a way that is kind of subtle. And I think that's what NFTs allow as well. It's like tell me you're rich without telling me you're rich. Somebody puts up a picture of a Bored Ape Yacht Club or a punk, right? Like, they know they could flip that and make a substantial amount of money. And so it's really a way of, so it's social status online, right? So as soon as you see somebody on Twitter with a Bored Ape Yacht Club picture, profile picture, or you see them with a punk, like instant respect, right? Puts them on a pedestal. You're like, oh, you're one of those guys. You're one of them.
Yeah.
And so it's social status, and right, a lot of people, men especially, were driven by social status, right? It's why you see people want to make a lot of money, want to get ripped, and want to do these things. And so it's a way of showing your social status in a place like Gary Vee said, and like you mentioned, that where people notice it, right? Where it matters, where we spend most of our time. And that's what the extension, the metaverse, is going to be, just an extension of what we're doing now in the 2D landscape, but in a 3D landscape. And that's where the metaverse kind of takes us.
And is there any particular project which you're looking to buy into, like you're looking to flip to get to a point where you could be a part of this community?
To buy into one, you mean, like if it was to...
Yeah, for example, like, is there a project that you would love, like an NFT project that you would love to own, and you kind of have a strategy around how to get there, or you don't think like that? You're just looking at opportunities as they come.
kind of short term at the moment, but I think when I get to a point where I get to a point where I'm liquid enough to look at that, a Bored Ape Yacht Club, I think, will hold a lot of value for many years to come. I think you already see artists picking these up and celebrities buying these and making them their profile pictures, which says a lot. Jimmy Fallon the other day bought one, made it his profile picture. A Bored Ape Yacht Club appeared in the music video for I forgot his name now, famous artist. So I think with what they're doing, they're bringing out a token in the new year. That's going to continue driving in value. Could potentially compete with the punks. I don't know. But punks are kind of like very beyond reach now with the prices that they are as a floor price, millions of dollars. But the apes, I think, they have a lot going for them, and I think they'll hold value really well. Even in the NFT bear market, they dipped to 30 ETH. They're back at 40, 50 ETH now. So I think as a long play, an ape, Cyberkongs as well, they seem like they're doing a lot of cool things. A lot of good information is shared in their Discord from what I know. So that would be a cool one to grab as well. So yeah, I mean, obviously like the best ones you want to get, right? You want to be the ones at the top. It would be cool to get into VeeFriends, Gary's one, just to be a part of, but like it's not my goal. There's many other ones I think where you can get some good information.
Lee, tell us now more short term, what are the projects that you're psyched about? Like, what do you want to get in?
I actually don't even know at this stage. It really is so dependent day to day. I mean, I'm in a couple of Discords. One's called Club 721, and I've got like a pass where you get access to some more kind of like private chats and stuff and whatnot. And some of these Discords share like what's happening today, like what's minting today. And then you'll see people go in and like say like vote for what they're minting, right? So that kind of you can gauge like how hype it's going to be. And so I don't even know at this very minute in time. I kind of slowed down a bit with the NFT minting because it was in a bear market. It was risky. It was very risky over the past month to mint because you weren't guaranteed you were going to be able to just go and quick flip that. Or even it was going, or if there were some I minted and the floor price, like the price it was after mint, was actually less than the mint, right? Because of the effect of what happened with ETH, right? Everyone just kind of panicked and dropped their prices or stopped buying NFTs altogether. And so I was kind of really standoffish with minting for a while for that reason. And so I was just kind of focusing on more blue chip projects, the ones that are a longer term, right? Like Doodles. You look at Pudgy Penguins. I got one of those when it dipped as well. And so, looking like when everyone is not buying them, the strategy is to go and buy the good ones that you would like to have, right? Like we mentioned earlier, Alex, like if I had the liquid 3 weeks ago, I would have bought an ape, right? I don't have 30 ETH just lying around. I knew it would have gone back up. It was just a matter of time, right? And so it's about looking at what else is more in your price range, at what you feel comfortable in to invest for a long hold. And so I grabbed the Pudgy Penguin. I looked at the charts and looked at the volume. It was very stable, even as the bear market dipped. And so I was like, buying one of them is a pretty safe investment in my opinion. And so I got one of those. Cool Cats was dipping as well. It was about 10 ETH. And so it's like looking at like there's a few handful that really start standing out and they get referred to as blue chips or blue chip potential. And those are the ones which you can buy as long holds and be confident. But the short term ones, the ones to quick flip, they can be daily. I mean, I don't know. Like today, I don't even know if there's anything happening. I typically sometimes check. Sometimes I don't. So like I'm still trying to early to get back into it again because of what happened. I'm just like being a bit more cautious at this stage until I really see the volume pick up on OpenSea. Because it's slowly picking up, but I want to really see a bit more ramping up from OpenSea before I start going crazy, minting things and dropping big bucks to hopefully flip them. I want guaranteed sales. Yeah.
And can you tell us? Obviously, a lot of people have heard about Coinbase. It obviously IPO'd not too long ago. It's definitely a household name when it comes to purchasing cryptocurrencies. But what's the significance in the NFT space the moment that Coinbase comes online and builds their own NFT platform?
It's exciting. I mean, that for me, I think is really bullish for NFTs because, they have access to, couple million wallets. OpenSea had about a couple 100,000 people's wallets connected to it, right? So we're talking like massive exposure to a new audience. And what I like about it is, the people that have been comfortable with Coinbase will kind of slowly start feeling more comfortable to move on and start using the NFT platform just as a natural progression. That's why most retail investors probably use Coinbase, and when a coin gets listed on there, it usually pumps. And so I see the same effect of what will happen with NFTs. Just the other day, they shared that they're listing a few of these projects, and the floor price instantly rocketed on OpenSea, because people know that when you can then buy it on another platform, it will expose that project to even more people. And so the significance is that more exposure means more eyeballs, which means it would drive more awareness, right? And demand, we hope. And so that's what happened. I saw FTX today just announced they've got an NFT marketplace. They just tweeted about it, and there's a few pictures on there of kind of grayed out pictures of NFTs. I saw a couple common ones. Doodles was on there as well. There was a couple other ones. I think Pudgy, I think Cool Cats, Apes. So when these, I guess this new thing then is these exchanges bringing out their NFT platforms, Coinbase, and just exposing more wallets to it. Because if more people can access them, drives more demand, right? Because right now, if you've just got a Coinbase wallet and you haven't done any NFT stuff, you might feel a bit like it's risky. But if it's on a platform you feel comfortable with, you've already put some money into a meme coin or Bitcoin, you might feel comfortable just to continue on that trend and buy the next thing that they push your way. And the other thing I think is great about it is meme coins, right? These meme coins where people are making all this crazy money, they need to put it somewhere at some point, right? And nobody cares how big their bag of SHIB is or the next meme coin. What's going to matter is how cool they look online. And so hopefully they take their massive profits and start buying NFTs with them so they can continue their flex online. And so, I think Coinbase, NFT platform, FTX, and anyone who's kind of creating more exposure to NFTs is going to drive more demand, which, if you have a good project, should hopefully increase the value of them.
No, definitely. The more people that it becomes mainstream and people wrap their heads around it, obviously. Same with crypto. There's articles in Bloomberg. There's people talking about it. Like my wife's sister's asking me, what's an NFT? And you have to explain it. The weird, strange questions about why would anyone pay this amount of money for a GIF or for a JPEG? And we've been doing it for years. We've been flexing what we own. We want to align ourselves with a community, and in that community have status. That's the same in a wolf pack. That's the same in a household. Like the dad has more than the mom, well, not all the time, but hopefully, like the dad is the leader of the pack, for example. That happens in the workplace. You have a leader, you have a boss, and all the way up to a country that has a leader and people who live in the country. So I think it's not reinventing the wheel. It's just looking about how human emotion will interact online, essentially. And the metaverse is gonna be a really, really interesting space. Do you feel bullish about any stocks or anything else? Since you're so keen on NFTs, do you also trade crypto? And do you think about companies on the stock market which will have an impact in the metaverse and indirectly impact NFT adoption, etc.?
Yeah, I'm really bullish on crypto gaming right now. Like about 80% of my crypto holdings, maybe a bit more, is in crypto gaming projects. Because
Sandbox, Decentraland kind of stuff.
Well, I had Sandbox from March. I didn't actually have, Decentraland. I didn't have any Sandbox, but my Decentraland bag pumped like crazy in the past few weeks. With Sandbox,
it's up 25 today, man.
Yeah, it's just gone berserk. But what's happening there is the narrative, right, off the back of the Meta announcement, which is just driving more of the narrative of what was already coming, which is the metaverse. But like, what bridges us in the metaverse? Because if you think about it, the metaverse is this place like The Sims, right? Remember The Sims? We walk around, you talk with some people. But what we need is something to do in the metaverse. Like, what good is it just walking around in this place, this digital place? We need things to do, and that's where gaming comes in, and that's where I believe crypto gaming is going to really fill the gap of like what we do in the metaverse, and that's why I'm really bullish on gaming. And even if you look now on CoinMarketCap, the gaming market is pumping, whilst Bitcoin and the main cryptos are kind of moving down slightly. So I think the gaming landscape is really a strong one. NFTs are kind of being used in games as well. The use case of NFTs in games is very evident in that a lot of games where these players and people right now are buying skins for their characters, buying guns with their real money, but paying it to the gaming providers and not earning anything, shows that there is a need for them to actually be able to earn from their utilities. And so the cryptocurrency landscape is giving people that play these games the ability to buy NFTs as goods and trade them, right? And it's going to create an economy within the gaming community. And so it's already a need that's being that's there. And so I believe cryptocurrency will solve that problem in a big way for them, like Axie Infinity is doing right now. If you've looked at Axie Infinity,
they came on my radar like 2 months ago. There was a podcast on Invest Like the Best, and I was blown away. I was blown away about the fact that there's people who go into a computer game in the Philippines and Venezuela and basically work and just go home at night instead of them having, and it's evident obviously in the UAE that we have so many workers who come from the Philippines, come from India, come from everywhere, expats from all over the world who have to physically shift their location, leave their family in order to earn, to send the money back home. But the fact that there's a game where these people can earn money and then actually be in their own country and just go home at night just blew my mind.
Yeah, that's
and
what's
that
happening.
Really, I just
it's setting a trend.
Could not even wrap my head around it. It's
incredible. The same way NFTs, right? And it's creating opportunities for people that didn't have them. But that's just kind of the start. The Axie and their Sandbox and Decentraland, I think they'll kind of become like the Bitcoin of the crypto gaming space, where they kind of lead the market. And more, there's more games to follow. Axie, if you really look at it, it's not a great game. It's not the best ever game, but they're the first to do what they're doing. And so there's many games to come out right now, shooting games, RPGs, battle royale games that are going to come into this
and
space.
It's only going to become more advanced and more interactive and more immersive as we go along. But everything is kind of coming together now. The gaming industry, how to shift value in the digital world or in the gaming industry, and then how to shift it into the physical world as well. You're almost like building this transition between physical and like the digital world where you can actually interact in both of them. And I was speaking to Tarek when I went on an NFT kind of, not trip, but like into my own world. And what would stop you from, when you go into Gucci, let's say, and buy a Gucci sweater, you get the physical one and you also get the NFT given to your wallet. So you can wear it in the physical world. And then when you get home and go into Decentraland or Sandbox or wherever, you have your same sweater that you have in the physical world.
Yeah. Well, D&G were doing that. They did a digital giveaway, an NFT giveaway, and then you're getting physical goods to match. It wasn't the same thing, but it was like, if you buy this, you get this kind of thing.
And vice versa. Why could you not walk into the Gucci store in Decentraland and buy that sweater and then it's shipped to you the next day in the physical world?
Yeah, it's cool.
It's crazy, man. Mind-boggling.
Lee, I've got one more question. I know I've been tripping in and out, but I've got another question for you. I want to know, okay, if you're doing this full time now, and I know you're committed, but what do you do when this next crash is going to come? Because, I've been in crypto 2017 when it pumped first, and then it took a couple of years to kind of like come back up. And if you've got a lot of money kind of invested in a project, it's all about timing, right? What are you going to do to kind of sustain yourself in that sense? And what's the plan there?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm conscious of taking profits on the way up. So even now, the crypto stuff I'm invested in, I'm not someone who's waiting for 100x before I take things out. I'm being conservative and cautious and not greedy, because I've seen what happens with greed, even in NFTs, when you try and hold something for too long. So I'm being cautious of taking out profits. But I'm actually right now, because of where we are in this stage of the market, I'm still quite bullish. And so I'm reinvesting a lot of that back into different projects that I believe in. But, I'm still aware that, this isn't going to last forever. I experienced it with NFTs just now. I saw what happens when nothing happens. Luckily, it's not like if it all just kind of stops now, I can still survive, right? Like, I'm not going to be homeless kind of thing. But I'm aware, like, you know, the compounding effect of this will reach a point. So yeah, I guess I haven't thought majorly far ahead. There will be a point where I probably take profits and just hold it into stable coins and whatnot, in things that are more stable, and then decide on, you know, what to take out physically. I'm not sure yet, because we're not at that point. But yeah, I'm aware that there's always a crash. I think right now, yeah, I haven't felt it enough as an overall market, but I'm also foreseeing, like, from the information I'm kind of gathering, that we're not there yet at a crash, but I will definitely be more prepared mentally for, like, what could come. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
This is really, really important. And, you know, from 10 years of being in the markets and having people say there's a crash around the corner, and for years and years it just continues, whether it's the Fed printing cheap money, or there's so many different examples that I can give you where, you know, you think it's priced highly right now, but it goes a whole nother leg. And if you stay on the sidelines and you're just watching, then you never can take advantage of any of that. It's just, when time comes, you got to be ready to act quickly. And that is a lot of people's problem, is that, you know, when you only see it go up, obviously you come across like a genius, right? Everyone on the bull market should be making money. But when it comes down and they haven't experienced that and don't know what is really happening, like, how quickly you have to unwind and, like, get on the sidelines. Because, I mean, the amazing thing then is, and you have experienced it, all the prices become cheaper, but you got to be liquid to buy back in if you really believe in it.
That's the
And
problem.
if everything is locked up, you know, you can't actually take advantage of it. So
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
wish.
here, yeah.
So I was saying, I wish, like, you know, that I learned a very good lesson, even in this, like, mini NFT bear market. I really saw that, because there were projects that I already bought in on that, you know, were massively discounted for the past few weeks. And you know, just even seeing that and getting that exposure to that gave me a taste of what it feels like to not be liquid in something, or massively liquid how I would like to be, but also technically is bought at a high, even though it wasn't high, it was relative to the time. But I think it's that greed, isn't it? It's greed, and the greed that a lot of people to want to stay in and be like, no, I need more. And I think, like, it's a battle against yourself, right? At the end of the day, crypto is more of a battle against yourself, your inability to know when to take profits, to know when to manage yourself. And, you know, I feel like I've got a decent amount of self-control from what I've done in life, and I feel like if I can take some of that discipline, and I guess rules with yourself to know when to take and what to do, you can, I guess, manage yourself better. I don't know if it, I guess it's one of those things you have to learn over time, sometimes the hard way.
Lee, you know, you haven't even been in the markets for a long time, and just realizing that greed is a major problem, and at the same time fear. I don't think that, you know, you haven't sold anything, like, because it's just dropping, right? Which is like another major problem. Like, people see a little bit of a bear market and all of a sudden, oh no, I'm down, like, I don't know, I'm halfway what I paid for it, and they just sell. Whereas a week ago, they were so convicted that this project was going to go through the roof, and the smallest little market move and they're out, right? And that's how you accumulate kind of losses. So greed and fear is definitely something that, when people want to get into the space, they need to see, like, do I have the guts to stay through the tough times? And the tough times can come on the way up, and they can come on the way down. Because the problem is, you know, what do you do when the doodle goes to, you said 10 ETH, right? What do you do when it goes to 9 ETH?
Yeah,
I'm not going to sell until it really goes to 10 ETH. Or are you going to say at 9 ETH, that seems juicy, I got to sell? And then the worst thing is, if you say you don't sell, it comes back to like 4 or 5 ETH, and you're like, man, why didn't I sell at 9? You know, those kind of stories.
We're never going to time it, though. Right. Yeah. One thing about crypto and all of this space, you will never time it. But, like, one thing, you know, I always keep hearing is you never go broke taking profits. Right. So as long as you're taking profits, like right now, if Doodles went back down and it got to 10, my life isn't going to change because I've already made money on it. You know what I mean? And so as long as your exposure isn't to the point that you really need it to go to 10x, then there's nothing to lose. It's only to gain. Do you know what I'm saying? And so the one thing, going back to what you said about, you know, a dip and people pulling out, the one thing that really helped me, especially with the cryptos that I'm holding right now, is really understanding the project, right? Going through the white papers, the use case, because even if it comes down, if you see the long-term value and the point in an NFT or a crypto, if you see the point in it, then the dips won't actually scare you. You just look at them as opportunities. And so when I see dips now for things that I'm holding and I like, I'm like, great, another opportunity to buy, great, another discount. And that's the way I've reframed my mind with things I like. But I could only do that because of the conviction, because before that I was just buying because somebody said this is a good project.
The really interesting thing here is that, you know, when you go into a shop and something is 70% reduced, everyone buys, right? But when in the markets stuff dips, all of a sudden everyone says, no, this is now too scary. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? And that's because people overexpose themselves. And when they realize that if they're not overexposed and you've got cash on the side and you prepare for these kind of moments, and you know that the markets always go up and down, it never goes just in one direction. It doesn't matter whether it's Bitcoin, NFTs, or any other asset in the history of mankind. It's always fluctuating, right? So don't be so greedy when it's going up, and don't be so scared when it's going down, right? And
yeah, easier said than done.
Yeah, but to be honest, Tark, every single trade that, like, and I haven't done that many, but every single time, like, you go against the grain, like you do the opposite of what everyone's doing, you're generally going in the right direction. Like when everybody's running, you buy, and when everybody's like buying, then you run away, kind of. I mean, you can't. That's not financial advice, but
but yeah, I mean, you know, Warren Buffett said it best, right? And I think the perfect example was when I saw what's happening in the NFTs for the past couple of weeks. You know, only now it's starting to flip. I really saw, like, wow, these things were so much discount. Even like a couple of things I'm holding now, I paid an inflated price from where it is now. You know, hopefully it'll get back there at least, but it really shows you how things can come down in a way that you could never even expect. And it could stay down. And as long as you realize, like, whatever you put in, I could lose all of it tomorrow. And as long as you're comfortable with that, and as long as you know, like, there is a probability that this could go to zero, and that self-awareness to know, like, your life won't, you know, you're not going to do anything crazy. It's going to be all right. Like, as long as you know that you're exposing yourself, that I could lose this money, and be comfortable with that.
You're saying, in theory, what you're saying makes absolute sense, and everyone says that. I'm all right if there's fluctuation, but are you really, when the market goes down, are you really okay with that money going back? Because so many people say that, but they actually put too much money that they can't afford to lose in there, and then your decision making really suffers.
Yeah, it's true.
Lee, if you were to take all the money that you have as disposable income as X, what percentage of X is in cryptocurrency and NFTs?
Percentage-wise, I would say about 80%. Maybe, yeah. I'm massively exposed, but I don't care, because, like, I'm convicted. And for me, like, it might be craziness, just like many people would call it, but I feel very confident that, you know, if everything went to shit tomorrow, I can go and get a pretty decent job and make pretty good money, or I can just go back and, you know, kickstart one of my businesses. Like, I'm not worried because of that. And so
you're seeing a gold rush or an opportunity which might not present itself again, and saying, let me take advantage of this and see what I can make out of it. And it could be a massive break, or it could be whatever.
I'm cool with that. Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, one thing I wouldn't want to do is be the guy who sat on the side saying, I wish 20 years ago I put some money in because somebody said, I wish this, I would. Like, I don't want to be that guy who has regrets. And, you know, I'm sure there's many people from the .com boom and all the other booms that have happened in the past that have said that. And, you know, I just don't want to be that guy who said, I wish. I'd rather be the one who took a risk. And, like, if it doesn't pay off, hey, it's on me. Nobody gets hurt. Just, you know, just me. And another lesson to learn in life. You know, I've learned many lessons, lost a bit of money doing stupid things as well. So I'm just like, you know, maybe this one can gain, maybe it doesn't. It's kind of the fun of it, though.
Yeah. On that note, Lee, I really want to thank you so much for all the information and value you shared. As Tarek said, it's such a short period of time, but you just have so much knowledge. And I think that's what's so exciting, that this space is nascent, it's new, and everyone right now has an opportunity to get involved in one way or another and learn and become an expert in the field. And I think that's really exciting. Thank you so much, man, for coming on. And it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me, guys.
You dropped some gems, bro.
Yeah, you really did. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Peace.